Okay, hello, this is Ella, and for today's video, I wanted to go in depth about which is a better option for drawing between an iPad, a Wacom screenless like tablet, and a Cintiq. I just want to say I have some background using both. I guess officially have tried all of them since 2017. That's when I had an XP pen, and then after that broke, I got like a regular screenless Wacom tablet, and then I've had a old iPad that I used a stylus for back in like 2012 that I used Ibis Paint with. So here's a list of all of like the different types of tablets I've used, and then paired with the computer that I used it. I want to be really concise about this because I want to give people some good insight and stuff like that. So I wanted to go, I guess, down the line and talk about each thing, each aspect of each part of the drawing device. So first I wanted to start out with the pen. Whoa, okay. So for the pen, I'll start with the iPad. The iPad, it doesn't come with a pen, you have to buy an Apple pen. And there's a first gen and a second gen. I have the first gen, which is kind of annoying because you can only charge it using the charger port, so it like sticks out, and it has been bumped several times, and it is very unsafe because I feel like it's so easy to like break it, and I feel like they purposely did that, honestly. They do have a converter that you can put your pen in and charge it there, so if you have two iPad chargers or iPhone chargers, you can use that as well. The second gen's nice. I don't have the second gen, but I had a friend that had the second gen, and the way that they charge is you just like connect it to the iPad and it just like charges. Like it just needs to be like touching the iPad and it'll charge. I don't know how they do it, but it's pretty cool. As for drawing on the iPad, I think that it's very essential to have an Apple pen because pen pressure is very nice. I mean, if you don't use pen pressure and just want to draw with like your finger or just use the regular stylus, then that's okay too, because those are really cheap. You get them at the store for like $1 probably, or a finger is free. The Apple pen battery life, I say it lasts like a really long time. I draw on my iPad pretty much every day for like hours on end, like from when I wake up to like at least 5 to 6, and I have to charge it every couple of days. I'd say every like 3 to 4 days is what I feel like it takes, and it takes like just 20 minutes at most to charge. It charges really fast, and the pen pressure can be changed pretty easily too on Clip Studio. If you like are putting a lot of pressure on it and you need like less, there's a way to adjust that. I'm sure that it can be done on other apps, but I know that it's like really easy to do on Clip Studio. As for the drawing tablet that doesn't have a screen, I think the pressure is decent. The weird grip kind of takes getting used to, like holding on to it. It's very light. It's a very light pen, and like if you add like a gripper to it, I could see that being like nice, but because it has buttons, it's not really something you could do, because I have a grip on the Apple pen that like helps me hold it better, but you can't really do that for either of the Wacom tablets that I have. The buttons are nice though, because if you want to undo something really quickly, you could just like push that. That's what I have it set to. And there's a back button too, and I have it set to just like move around on the canvas, but I'm just gonna say I never use the back button just because it's slightly inconvenient to me, so I just never use it. And lastly is the Wacom Cintiq pen. So this pen also has 2 buttons. The grip is very nice. This pen didn't come with the Cintiq itself. I ordered this one separately because back when I was taking an animation class, I needed to have a pen that I could like easily use on the Cintiq, and I accidentally found out that this pen also worked on my Cintiq. So that was nice. And it has like, it's very, not like heavy, but it has like a nice weight to it, so it feels good in my arm. It has a nice grip. It's like bigger around the tip of it and then smaller at like the end. It also has an eraser, which is very nice. It is very quick to change. Like it's like using like a regular pencil, basically. Like you're drawing and then you're like, oh no, I flubbed up. And then you just flip around and you have an eraser. So that's kind of cool. But the original pen that comes with, it's fine. It feels a little light, which like if you like that, then that's fine. But I don't know. I like having just like a little bit of weight on it. But if that's not a problem with you, then it's not a problem. So yeah, that's basically the difference between all of them. I'd say that the Cintiq overall has a better pen just because the pen pressure is really good. Just like the feeling of having it and like gripping it is really good. And you don't have to make like modifications like you do for the Apple pen. The Apple pen doesn't have an eraser. I think the second gen does. I think there's like a button that you can like push that like makes it switch over to eraser. but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have the 2nd gen. Okay, so next is monitors. So for the iPad, it's nice because you can use your fingers to move around the canvas, and that's like really fun. You can do that little spinny thing where you spin around the canvas with your fingers. There's a nice little split screen feature, so if you want to draw and have like YouTube, either just like on the side, or if you just want to have YouTube just like floating around on your canvas too, you can make it really small, and that's nice. It makes it more convenient to draw. You can also use your split screen for references. That's what I use. I usually open Pinterest or like have stuff on my camera roll that I want to use to like help me. It does make your space more limited because you're doing it this way, but I think with getting used to, it's not something that's like that big of an issue, at least for me, because that's what I do all the time. It doesn't have any buttons that like other tablets have, like the buttons on the side, like the screenless one has, but it also, you have like the finger actions, like you can like double tap with your 2 fingers to undo, triple tap to redo. I never use redo, but I use undo a lot because that's really nice. If you have Clip Studio, you can basically scan like a QR code and you'll be able to use it to like act as like your button thing. You could flip the canvas, you can undo, you can transform stuff to like move it around, and it's pretty nice. I've used it a few times. It's not really like my go-to. What I usually do is I just do like the 2 finger to undo. But yeah, so the Wacom screenless tablet, this one, you don't have like a monitor, so it's just whatever, the screen is whatever your computer is. So that's a little annoying because you have to get like used to it and stuff. So it has 4 buttons and you could set it to be like whatever it is. I gave this tablet to Robbie to use now, and he uses it, changing it to pen, changing it to eraser because it doesn't have an eraser like the other one does, and making the pen bigger or smaller. As for the Cintiq, it's basically you get a whole new monitor. You can set it up so your computer views the same thing as that tablet, but what I do is I take advantage of having the extra monitor and having basically the Cintiq is where the drawing is. It takes up the entire thing, and then the other computer, my main computer, I'm either like watching YouTube or I have like a bunch of references on the side. So this one doesn't have any buttons. You can purchase one of those like remotes so you could add buttons to it, but if I'm gonna be honest, I bought like the remote when I got my Cintiq, but like I literally could not figure out how to use it and how to set it up. It was very tedious, so I just returned it because I thought that it was like either broken or I was just like too stupid to figure it out. But you got your old reliable keyboard, so if you want, just use that, because that's what I do. I just use my keyboard for everything, for like the undos and making the stuff bigger and smaller. Okay, so next is cords. The iPad obviously doesn't need any cords besides like charging it when it's low on battery. The screenless Wacom, it just needs a simple like plug-in USB. This is where the Cintiq kind of is not as good as the others because it has several cords. So if you have a laptop, you might not be able to even use it without getting one of those like extra USB plugins that have like the extra extension and all that other junk that you could do with it. It has a power cord as well, so it needs to be plugged into an outlet, so you need to make sure you're by an outlet. It's very tedious and also very easy to mess up. Things sometimes like don't go well. Things could go awry if you just like plug one thing wrong. I could not use it on my Mac computer for the longest time because I needed a certain converter, but everything's good now, and it's I just don't mess with it. I'm not even gonna unplug it to like show how it's set up because I don't want to mess anything up. For iPad, you can pretty much take this wherever you want. You could take this on the bed, you could sit in a tree, you can go to the beach. The world's your oyster. For the screenless tablet, I recommend laying it flat on the desk if you have a desk. There's no rule against like having it on your lap or holding it up, but it's kind of uncomfortable trying to hold it up, and I feel like just having a nice flat surface where you could just put all the pressure is nice, and it's good, it's easy, so just have some like free space. And for the Cintiq, it has little flaps that you can open and be able to like put on your desk. The Cintiq is very big, so if you have a small desk, it might become annoying and you might not have like a room for it. That was an issue that I used to have when I had a desk that was like very small. It was like literally the size of a laptop basically, so I had to have it in my lap. I got one of those like arm things that you set up where the monitor like rests on. You can like move around all crazy, and it's very nice because if you want to show somebody something, you can like move it closer to them, because that's what I do with Robbie all the time because the monitor is so easy to move around. And also, because it's not on the desk itself, you can put it right next to your computer, which is like very nice. So now it's time for the overall things that I've noticed just in general with all of them going down the line. So for iPad, the screen is not the biggest, and compared to the pen pressure of the other tablets, it's not the best, but it's still really good. With the screenless Wacom, it's easy to set up. I feel like it gets a little buggy and you have to restart it. And I don't know if that comes with like just like time, because I've had this since about like 2020, because that's when my XP pen broke. But there are a lot of instances where it just kind of stopped working and I had to just like restart the entire computer to make it be able to work again. It's a pretty easy fix, but it's just kind of annoying, so just keep that in mind. But this is something I recommend if you already have a laptop or a computer and you're just starting out, because it is a really cheap option. Or if you have your phone, because you can use your phone as well. I personally can't really get behind, at least nowadays, not being able to like see what there's like a little mild disconnect when you're drawing, because you're like not looking at your pen, you're looking at the screen. So there's a little disconnect there, but I remember it took some getting used to, but I was able to get used to it and like be able to draw with it. But if that's not something that you can see yourself doing, then I would recommend getting one with a screen at least, just because there is a difference. There is a big difference when it comes to looking at the screen and not looking at the screen. For the Cintiq, the only qualm that I have that I'd say is the biggest is obviously the cords, and then the fact that you can't really take it everywhere like you could an iPad or even the screenless tablet if you have like a laptop with you. If you're a college student, lugging around like a giant Cintiq could hurt your back. You'd have to make sure that you are also somewhere with an outlet in order to use it. So that could also just be another issue, because I don't like just like being cooped up in my room. So I would take it out, but I'd take it out in like the living room to like hang out with everybody. And I remember just being very tedious bringing it back and forth. So price-wise, like I said before, if you already have a good laptop or just like have something that you can easily plug a USB in, just trying out getting a screenless tablet is pretty good, because the price is very nice. You can ask for it for Christmas. It'd be a nice Christmas gift. It's pretty usually pretty cheap, and you can get like older ones too that are pretty cheap as well. And being able to take it to class is also nice. I think overall you get your money's worth on an iPad. It's not the cheapest option as like compared to the screenless. Plus you need to buy the pen too, and the pens are usually kind of pricey. But the portability is like, it like skyrockets in comparison to the other two, honestly. Because I got my iPad that I draw with currently a couple years ago. So I would use my Cintiq, and just like the difference when I was able to just be like in the living room just like chilling with it, or like even just like going outside, it's so nice. A downside though to the iPad is Clip Studio is something that I use on my computer, and if you want to get Clip Studio, it's a monthly cost, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But there are other really good options that are either one-time like payments or even like free. Procreate's really good. Ibis Paint is something that's really good. I think that it's free and you can like pay to get rid of the ads and stuff and get like extra stuff with it. If you're an animator, the iPad has Flip-a-Clip, which is also very good. I personally am really bad at it, but I've seen like really amazing animations using it. So there is a way to be good and like use it. Like it's not like a bad software. I'm just bad at using it because I'm not good at like using new like art softwares. And I think the Cintiq is really good, but I don't recommend it for anybody that's like starting out because it's such a big purchase. But like I said, it has a lot of perks like the extra monitor and things like that and the pen pressure, but you could always get like a cheaper screen one too. But anyway, I hope this video helped.